Hey guys, it's Karen from A Yarn Tale. I'm coming to you from Chicago where I live with my husband, our 3 kids, and our dog Max. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as knotfancyknitter, and there's also an email for this podcast if you'd like to get in touch. And I'd love to hear from you. This is a knitting podcast where we talk about yarn and projects and what we're working on and what we're never working on again. And I'm hoping that this will be a lightning strike episode, kind of in and out real fast, because this is the last day of school before winter break, and there are some Christmassy things, shenanigans, that I need to wrap up before my kids get home. So let's get right into it. So I have one finished object. It is a gift knit, so it's a little bit big for me, but I think, okay, it's a lot big for me, but I think it will fit the recipient. This is the Oslo Hat by PetiteKnit, and I knit it out of Distortion Fibers DK in the Werewolves of London colorway, which I love. I love this colorway. I got this yarn at Miss Pearl Chicago when I visited pretty soon after they first opened, and I have been looking for the perfect project, and I think this was a really good fit. So what can I say about this hat? I love knitting this hat. It was really easy and pretty mindless, but not boring. It's all stockinette. So you cast on, joining the round, and then knit this giant brim. Sorry, the light is pretty bad today. I have a tiny Christmas tree. Here, wait, I'll show you. I have a tiny tabletop Christmas tree. Hello. Which is the best we could do this year with our home renovation, but it's kind of blocking my light. So, sorry about that. Let's do the best we can. So you cast on, join in the round, and you knit this giant brim. And actually, you knit 2 times this length, and then knit it together inside the hat so that it's double thick at the brim, which I love, and it's all stockinette. And then kind of fold your brim up and keep on knitting. And when you get to the top, there's 4 points of decrease just to make it real clean, not too flowery, and it makes this really warm and squishy hat. I made the adult large, so this is too large for me. Like, it kind of fits like this. But I think if I did not have a pin head, it would be a nice fit. So that is the Oslo Hat. Highly recommend. I think it's a good gift knit because it does kind of read store-bought. I mean, the colorway doesn't really, but the style of it is pretty conventional. So in that sense, I think it'll work. So that's the Oslo Hat. And you guys, I really only have one major whip, and it is because I am completely obsessed with this work in progress. Okay, so you might remember I am knitting the Schneeflocken pullover by Sarah Solomon of Into the Wool, and I cast it on. Sorry, they're still doing construction. I keep hoping they're gonna wrap up, and they're just not wrapping up. I have tons of stuff to do today, so we're just gonna have to power through. So I cast on for the sleeves in the summertime. I knit the sleeves, and I know I've showed them a bunch, with the color work on the cuff, and I recently cast on for the body. Now that it's cooled down, I can actually work on it, and I cannot get enough of this project. Look at it! It looks so good. So this is my first real colorwork project. I've done mittens and hats before, but I've never done a garment. And I just cannot get over, here, I'll move that out of the way. I just can't get over how it looks. I love it so much. Okay, so I'm knitting it out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the colorway Pumpernickel, which is this dark brown. It's kind of reading black on the camera, but it is definitely dark brown. And the lighter color is Fossil. I cast on the ribbing at the bottom in a size 2, and I went up to a size 4 for the color work. On the sleeves, I went up to a 3, and I really think you can still see that it pulls in. Like, my sleeves have a little bit it's just really tight right there. So I went up yet another needle size to a size 4. And I think that worked out just great. Like now that it's a little further down, you can see it does not appear to be pulling in at all. And in fact, I tried to check my gauge. It's really hard to check my gauge because these stitches all kind of blend together. But I think my color work gauge is a little bit loose actually, but not that much. So I would rather it be a little loose than a little tight. So I like the way it turned out. I held the lighter color as the dominant color for the lower part of the chart. So I held it in my left hand. And then right here where it switches over, I switched my color dominance and made the darker color the dominant color. So I switched and held the pumpernickel in my left hand. And I think it just kind of made it pop against the background. I really like how that worked out. I did not catch my floats with the exception of one spot. The last row, there is literally one dark stitch per repeat. So it's like you have to carry it for 20 some stitches. And I was like, that's a little excessive even for me. So I did catch my floats just for that top row. And sometimes you can see it. Let me see. Actually, right here it looks pretty good, but where's the spot? Here. Like right there, you can see it a little bit where I caught it. But if you don't stretch it, and that's like right under the underarm, the front and back actually look pretty good as far as seeing the darker color behind. So I am happy with how that is working out. I have been meaning to order progress keepers and stitch markers from Grizzly Knits. Tracy of our Grizzly Knits makes the most beautiful progress keepers and stitch markers, and I have just been staring at them on Etsy for months, and I finally got them as a treat for myself. This is my end of round stitch marker, and I have her progress keeper on here somewhere. You guys, look how much progress I made. It's because I've really worked on nothing else, but this, it's gonna be hard to see, but it's these cute little mittens with a lobster claw clasp. This just makes it so nice. It just really goes with the snowflake vibe of the sweater. And so I'm really loving how this worked out. I switched back to a size 2 needle for the stockinette because the body of the sweater is just straight stockinette all the way up until you get to the separate for the armholes. And so knitting, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, knitting an adult pullover on size 2 needles is a little bit like knitting like the world's most giant sock. It just takes forever. I mean, I feel like ironically, the chart seemed to take much less time than the stockinette. I don't know if it was just the size 4 needles or because you can really see that you're making progress because each line of the chart is different, but I feel like I've been knitting on the stockinette part for days and days, and I've appeared to make no progress at all. So the good news is I don't actually have that much more to go, and I'm hoping I'm not wrong about this, but the pattern says that you should knit until it measures, I believe, 16 inches or so, or even more than that, from the hem to the sleeve separation. But that is so long. Like, this sweater I'm wearing now is store-bought. It's cropped, but it's 11.5 inches from the hem to the armhole separation. And these are high-waisted jeans, right? But I'm not even close to the top of them. So I measured some non-crop sweaters that I wear that I like the length of, and usually they're like 12 or 12.5 inches from the hem to the armhole separation. So I'm definitely not gonna knit this to 16 inches or more. So I think I'm at like 9.5 right now. So I might go like 3 or 4 more inches just to see what it looks like. But I think I'm gonna have a decent amount of the lighter color yarn left over, just because I'm gonna shorten it. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit worried that I am reading the pattern wrong and thinking that I can shorten it and it'll fit the way I want it to. And it just seems like 4 inches is a lot to shorten. I mean, I've like added an inch or so of length to some patterns, or I've, you know, taken off an inch here or there, but I've never just subtracted 4 inches of length from a pullover before. But I mean, the way I read it, the pattern says knit 16 inches and then you separate for front and back. So that would be the armhole separation, right? I mean, you knit 16 inches and then separate. So I don't know, I hope I'm right on that one. Otherwise I'm gonna have a tiny little cropped color work sweater. Hopefully not, hopefully not. So this is my Schneeflocken. I have worked almost exclusively on this to the point where I didn't even finish I made no progress at all on my bulky sweater. The bubble cardigan, or the bubble jumper, still here, still in exactly the same spot. I haven't even picked up for to knit the second sleeve. Why? It would take me like a day or two. But I just really wanted to get into that color work. And so I'll have to do that next time. Oh, do you like my Little People Nativity set? So we have 2 sets. We have one nativity set, but last year, right around this time, right before Christmas, inexplicably, the baby Jesus and the baby Jesus was still there, but Mary and a camel were just missing. So Mary, and one camel just weren't with the nativity set, and it was getting really close to Christmas, and my kids really like to play with it, even though they're too old for this kind of thing. I mean, they're 5 and 7 and 10. Well, certainly my 5th grader's not playing with it, but my girls do still like it. And I was worried that Mary wouldn't show up in time for Christmas. So I thought, well, okay, I'll just order replacement people. But of course, it's a set, so you can't just get Mary and the camel. You have to get the whole set. So I just bought the whole set. And then lo and behold, Mary did return from whatever kind of exile or vacation, or I don't even, maybe she just needed some peace and quiet. You know, I do feel for Mary in the last week before Christmas that maybe she just wanted to take a break and get away and get an Airbnb somewhere and reflect on the Christmas spirit without hanging out with a whole bunch of shepherds and cows and, you know. I don't have any more whips. I feel bad, you guys. Like, as far as podcasting goes, I've done a ton of knitting, but it's not very exciting to talk about because it's really just 1 or 2 projects. But I have a really good future project. So I know I talked about knitting cardigans for my girls, and I had asked if you guys had any ideas for sparkle yarns, and you had such great ideas. And in fact, a lot of people mentioned that sparkle thread from Espace Tricot. So I'm definitely gonna pick some of that up, but I didn't for this project because I was in a yarn store that's local to me, but I don't get to go to very often. It's called Sister Art Studio, and it's a really awesome store, but it's in a neighborhood that's too far for me to walk, and the parking is really tricky. So I don't get over there as much as I would like, but I was in the neighborhood. They happen to have Madeline Tosh, their sparkle base. It's the Tosh Merino Light and Glitter. So this is their natural colorway. It is mostly merino. Hang on. 90% superwash merino, 8% acrylic, and 2% stellina. That's the sparkle. And I don't know if the sparkle's gonna show up on camera. Oh, a little bit in the light there. So it's basically just a bare yarn with some sparkly stellina in it. And this is kind of exactly what I was looking for. It is fingering weight, and actually, what's the yardage on this? It's 420 yards, so it's pretty thin. Here, I'll show you. I wound up 2 balls of it because I'm gonna be holding it double, because the cardigan that I wanna make, that, what's that called? With the petals? Dahlia? I'm like, with the flower petals? The cardigan calls for DK weight, So this is pretty thin. I'm gonna hold it double and hopefully get some kind of DK gauge. Haven't swatched yet because I cannot seem to put the Schneeflocken down. But I do think that it'll make a really cute dressier cardigan for my younger daughter. Although she saw me winding it up and she did like the sparkle, but she said it would be much, much better if it were rainbow sparkle, which I guess if you're in kindergarten is probably true. But I was sort of looking for something that she could wear with some of her dresses if we go to dinner or something. And I thought maybe rainbow sparkle was a little bit, it's a little bit too over the top for my aesthetic. So maybe the next one, maybe the next one I do will be full on rainbow sparkle glitter neon, just like 1000% kindergarten. But for now, bare yarn with the tiniest, most subtle bit of stellina. So I don't know if she's gonna be as excited as I thought she might be, but it is actually surprisingly soft. I was worried that the stellina would be scratchy, but I wound it by hand and it did not bother me. So hopefully it'll be fine. I'm actually thinking, okay, so this is this is where you know you're just deluding yourself, but the pattern has a top, like kind of a tunic length top, a cardigan, a pullover, and a dress. And the pattern for the cardigan is a single page with a chart for the yoke. So in my mind, you know, that's gonna go really fast because how long could it possibly take you to knit a one-page pattern? But then I was thinking, what if it's one of those Scandinavian patterns where they just put really complicated directions, you know, in 2 sentences, like maybe they just don't write it out. I've read the pattern a whole bunch actually, and in my mind it makes sense, but I might be wrong about that. So I'm hoping to knock that out in the new year so that she'll have a new sweater to wear, and then I can get on to making a new cardigan for my older daughter, which is what I really want to do, so that she can stop wearing that really sad cardigan that I made last year. So that is this. You guys, I gotta say, that's all the knitting I have, which is kind of sad. Given the amount of knitting I've actually done, that is a surprisingly small amount of podcasting content, but that's kind of good. I wanted to say thank you for dissuading me from doing Vlogmas, because this holiday season has just been super busy and there would have been no way that I ever could have recorded a whole bunch of videos, regardless of what I would even put in them. I don't think I would have physically been able to do it and keep up with Christmas. And we're not even really doing anything for Christmas this year. We've had a couple of smaller, sort of holiday gatherings with just a couple friends. But we haven't really done the full-blown Christmas extravaganza just because of COVID and, just trying to keep it simple this year. But it still has been super busy. And part of it is, okay, so my kids are small enough that Santa's still a really big deal in our house. And we went to a Christmas party where the kids could talk to Santa. And so we were waiting in line, and my 2 girls were waiting in line. My son's in 5th grade, and he isn't really into talking to Santa, which is cool. I mean, at a certain point you do age out. And so my girls were waiting in line, and with my husband and me, and then friends of ours showed up at the party kind of right while we were in line. So I left the line to go show them where we were and make sure that we found each other. And I should have just not left the line. That is a rookie mistake. But I figured, they know how to talk to Santa. They're probably good. So when I got back to them, my girls were already through the line. They had talked to Santa. They'd done their bit. And I asked my husband, what did they ask for? Because Santa really only brings one thing per kid in our house. And so whatever they asked for, that's kind of it. So my older daughter was like, I want to get a magic mixie. And I was like, magic mixie? I thought you were going to ask him for that tie-dye kit that you wanted to get? And she was like, no, I want a magic mixie. And I was like, what is that? So I looked it up, and it's kind of like a Hatchimal, but instead of hatching out of an egg, it comes out of, there's a stuffed animal that comes out of a cauldron after you pour in these ingredients for some spell. And it's like the it toy of Christmas. So it's not really readily available. And as far as I can tell, Santa's elves can't actually make the magic mixie, which is really awkward for Santa because you can't really buy it anywhere. So thankfully, I think Santa got a hookup on eBay with someone who would sell him a magic mixie for $1 bazillion million. So that was good. And then my younger daughter, I was like, okay, what did you ask for? Please, not a magic mixie. And she said, no, I asked Santa for a phoenix. And I was like, what do you mean a phoenix? She's like, a phoenix, like the bird, like the mythical animal that is consumed by flames and then magically is reborn from the ashes. And I said, oh, I don't know if Santa can bring mythical animals. And she said, yeah, but when you asked for a unicorn, and I got one. And I said, okay, well, that unicorn was stuffed, so maybe Santa can come up with a stuffed phoenix. So Santa might be leaning more in the stuffed phoenix department, a la Harry Potter, because Fawkes is a phoenix. But I do think there's a decent chance she's going to be really disappointed that it does not spontaneously combust on Christmas morning. That is the last time I'm leaving my girls relatively unsupervised in the line to Santa, because if I had been there with them, I would have been like, whoa, what happened to the art kit that we were gonna get? Don't you like markers? Santa's really good at making markers. So now that Santa has dealt with all of the last minute Christmas shenanigans, I think we finished up the gift knits. We're pretty much ready. We just have to get some ingredients for some food and make some holiday cookies, and then Christmas can arrive. I hope that your Christmas season is treating you well. If you celebrate, hope you have a joyful season. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you get some nice time off just to hang out with your family and friends, or see no one at all and hole up in a cozy corner and knit some stuff. So hopefully it'll work out well for everyone. And I am hoping, I would love to podcast in a couple of weeks right before the new year, but I am a realist, and I know with all my kids home, there is a 1% chance that is going to happen. I'm toying around with doing a Make 9 for 2022. I didn't do one for 2021 because I didn't even know what it was, but I don't know if you guys are familiar. Which podcast is it? Super popular podcaster that I watch, and I cannot remember. I'll put it down below, but basically you choose 9 projects, you make a board or some kind of Pinterest, or you just make a list and choose 9 projects that you're hoping to make for 2022 and just sort of work on them over the year. I cannot imagine choosing 9 projects that I would actually stick to for 1 year. That's kind of why I am hesitating. But I do think it would be fun just to pick, and if I get to them, I get to them, and if I don't, I don't. I tend to be kind of a magpie when it comes to knitting, and I am just drawn to whatever is new and shiny. But I might still pick out some projects that look good to me just to sort of see what catches my eye. If you're doing a Make 9, I'd love to hear about it, or if you have suggestions for projects that look cool and interesting, I would send them my way or put them in the comments, because I would love to hear about that. If you won the giveaway last episode, I am so sorry. I have not mailed out that yarn yet. I still have it. I'm still gonna send it out. I have not gone to the post office, but I'm gonna be there today to mail out my gift knit. So hopefully those yarns are going out today. I'll message you the tracking number when they get out. I am just super bad about sending stuff out. So it's on my list. Oh my goodness. will definitely get out in short order because Christmas is coming and people need their stuff. That's it. That's all. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a joyful season and you find some peace, or you find a way to be peaceful on the inside when the world around you is a chaotic mess. Also, if you have a line on a stuffed phoenix, I would love to hear about it because Santa might need a little help in that department. Thanks for watching. Happy knitting. Hang on a second. I don't have any fancy mugs. These are my Pottery Barn mugs.